Well, what happens next? You said you'd get to it. Like, how do we get from you're still a part of it to now you're gonna
So
go out and start your own thing?
a couple of days, maybe a week went by, because that was early December. Couple of days, whatever, a little bit of time went by, and I recircled with Toby, and I said, "Well, bud," he said, "Well, you tell me. It's your life, and you're the wrestling guy. What do you think?" And I go, I wasn't bluffing you when I told you that I think a deal will be done. And the main reason that I think the deal will be done is twofold. One, you, if we drew up a strategic partner in the dictionary, that's you. You have access to a Rolodex on all facets. That Toby said it. I don't need wrestling knowledge. I need entertain. He was a great strategic partner. And on the other side of the ledger that I told Toby over and over and his team, and they agreed, is that Panda, they didn't have to do anything, and they didn't. And we saw that where that headed, but they needed to do something bad because it was ugly. Payables were ugly, and the revenues keep going down. And it was pretty obvious there wasn't a strategic plan in place to lift the nose up and get going. Um, and so, what was next? I said, Toby, give me a little time, but if I leave and start something new, are you in? He said, Jeff, I've told you from the beginning. I'm in. We've got to create the right deal structure and figure out the right way to get this thing off the ground. But I believe in you now. I believed in you 20 years ago or whatever, 10 years ago. Yes. So his short answer was, yeah, I'm there. If that's what you think, he put not just some 100% of the decision in my lap, but in return, he also said, yeah, Jeff, I'm in. We just got to kind of figure out what that looks like. And right now, I don't expect you to have that answer because you've been working better part of the last year on acquiring this place. So I know you don't have the plan in place. At least I don't think you do. And I said, I don't. I don't. So that was, kind of the situation. Talked to my attorneys, and they said, look, you can't start working on another promotion while you're drawing a paycheck from it. That's a conflict of interest. You can't go start something, under this roof. And so I said, okay, then I see the writing on the wall. And look, things will continue to not get better. And Conrad, you can kind of look at the AJ Styles contract. When that was coming up, end of 2013, there were a bunch of factors that I kind of knew that change had to take place. And so, Conrad, my oldest daughter was in a high school basketball tournament in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Um, Me and the girls drove over there. Um, and I had thought about it, but my attorney said, look, what do you think? And I said, let's just make it a clean resignation and just kind of move on, and step aside. And, they, lawyers and accountants, look, my ownership, that doesn't change at all. That's a completely separate deal. As far as my, executive role, I had to resign, and so I sent that resignation letter in. And Andy Barton didn't know, Dean Broadhead didn't know, no one within the company knew. It was I hit send over in Hilton Head because I did. I got up and thought about it and prayed on it. And I just, guidance and is this the right move? And I just kept coming back to it's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable, the direction it's going. And they pretty much gave me the answer, what they thought of me, under no uncertain terms. I mean, it wasn't, it was very clear. It wasn't a Bob issue and it wasn't a Janet issue. It was a Dixie issue that I was never either get her trust back or whatever it was. There was nothing in the cards for us working together. And so I pulled the trigger and resigned.
How did that go?
With
the resignation, like when is it a weight lifted off your shoulders or
yes,
okay.
it was yes, 1,000%, 100%, as the T-shirt says. Just because that was not something that had been building for even a couple of months. I knew change was needed. I always kind of go back to that whole rebranding mess that they look, and me and you've talked offline on a couple of this. I wish I would have had the relationship with Eric that I do now. That what he didn't know, he didn't know. I don't think Eric would have ever dreamed that TNA would have made millions in profits ever, because I don't believe that's the story that he was told. He was told, "Hey, come in. We need your help," or whatever it may be. Um, and because the rebranding, and I'm just saying this as a one of many factors. Get rid of that six-sided ring. Let's get out of Orlando. Your talent here, they all need a facelift or let go. We're going to bring in this whole new slew of talent. I mean, there was radical change across the board, and every indicator from our partners, uh, it was not a good thing. So my kind of scratching my head started in 2011. So, you say way the world lifted off, probably somewhere in 2011 and 12. And then obviously by the end of 13, I knew we, we are, we are headed down the wrong train track in so many ways. And we were.